What are the best workout routines for men over 60? I'm going to show you 3 great routines in this video coming up next. Hey everyone, this is John Hansen, Natural Mr. Olympia, 3-time Natural Mr. Universe. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 best workout routines for men over 60. I'm going to give you 3 routines, one for beginner, one for intermediate, and one for advanced. All right, so let's start off with a beginner routine. If you've never done any weight training before, or it's been years since you touched the weights, I would recommend starting out really slow with a beginner routine. At the beginning stage, your muscles will respond to even a little stimulation. And for this reason, you don't need to do a lot to get the muscles to grow when you're just starting. I think the perfect routine for the beginner or for someone who hasn't weight trained in a long time is a full body workout routine. A full body workout routine, just like it sounds, involves training every muscle group of the body in one workout. So basically, you'll do one exercise for your chest, your back, your shoulders, your arms, your thighs, your calves, and your stomach muscles. This routine should consist of about 10 to 12 exercises, and you're going to do a maximum of 3 sets per exercise. Now, in the beginning, believe it or not, you can start off with just 1 set. If it's been a really long time since you worked out, your muscles are going to get sore, so it's always better to start off really slow. Eventually, over a couple of weeks, you can build up to 3 sets per exercise, and then just keep that volume the same while you slowly start to increase the amount of weight you're using. I would recommend keeping the repetition range between 8 and 12 reps. So when you're just starting out, start with a weight you can do 8 reps comfortably, build up to 3 sets, and then start adding repetitions every week until you get up to 12 reps using that same weight. Once you get to 12 reps, go up in weight again, go back down to 8 reps, and start the process again. By slowly building up your strength and your muscle endurance, you will train the muscles to gradually get bigger and stronger. And how many days would you do this routine? I would recommend a minimum of 2 days a week and a maximum of 3 days a week. You always want to rest 1 full day after weight training, so you would need at least 48 hours in between each workout. How fast you recuperate will determine if you're going to do this workout routine 2 times or 3 times a week. Now, even though I call this a beginner's routine, there's a lot of people out there who don't want to do an extensive weight training program or who have very busy schedules. For them, doing a full body workout, training the whole body 2 to 3 times a week is a perfect routine for them to keep their muscles strong and developed. Now, if you want to push it a little bit more and train the muscles a little bit more extensively, you can move up to an intermediate routine. An intermediate workout would consist of adding some additional exercises, which is going to increase the load on each muscle group. Because of the addition of these exercises, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to train your whole body in one workout. So when you get to the intermediate stage of your training, you want to do a split routine. A split routine would involve training your upper body muscles on one day and then your lower body muscles on the next. As I mentioned, by doing a split routine, you can now add additional exercises for each muscle group. So say, for example, on the chest, on the beginner routine, you were just doing dumbbell bench presses. Well, now you can do dumbbell bench presses and dumbbell incline presses. This allows you to train each muscle group a little bit more extensively, which will allow for greater muscular development and added strength. So on the intermediate routine, I would recommend 2, maybe even 3 exercises per muscle group, depending on the size of the muscle. A bigger muscle group like your legs or your back can use more exercises than a smaller muscle group like your arms or your calves. So here's an example of an intermediate routine where you're splitting the body up into an upper body day and a lower body day. On your upper body day, let's start with the chest. You'll do 2 exercises. The first will be the dumbbell bench press, and the second will be incline presses. Moving on to the back, you can do wide grip pull downs and 1-arm dumbbell rows. For the shoulders, you can start with seated dumbbell presses and then do side lateral raises. For the triceps, do tricep push downs, and then for the biceps, do dumbbell curls. This will give you a total of 8 exercises for 3 sets each, or 24 sets for the whole workout. And in this workout, you've trained your chest, your back, your shoulders, and your arms. Now, moving on to the second workout, we can do the lower body. So starting with the legs, we can do some type of squat exercise, followed by the leg press. Then we can do leg curls, a dumbbell stiff-legged deadlift, standing calf raises, hanging knee raises, and crunches for your upper abdominals. This workout also consists of 8 exercises for 3 sets each, or another 24 sets for the total workout. When switching from a beginner's routine to an intermediate routine, you can also increase the amount of days per week that you're training from 3 days a week to 4 days a week. The ideal split would be to train your upper body on Monday and Thursday, and then train your lower body on Tuesday and Friday. You would take a day off in the middle of the week and then also take the weekend off. This would allow you to train each muscle group twice a week. And you can follow the same protocol with the intermediate routine that you did with the beginner's routine. You can continuously make the workouts harder by either adding more repetitions with the same weight or increasing the weight that you're using. I would again stick with the repetition range of 8 to 12 reps, except for the abdominal muscles where you could train them with higher repetitions like 20 or 30 reps. Okay, now let's talk about an advanced workout routine for men over 60. If you've been weight training for years and now you want to push it a little bit harder to see if you can build more muscle tissue and gain more strength, I would recommend a 3-day split for your workouts. One of the most popular splits is what's called push-pull legs. This involves training all the pushing muscles in one workout, which would be your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps, your legs by themselves in another workout, and then the pulling muscles in their workout of their own. That would involve the back and the biceps. One of the best benefits of the push-pull leg routine is that there's no overlap or overtraining if you train multiple days in a row. In other words, if you're training all the pushing muscles in one workout and then the next day you decide to do another workout, which is the pulling muscles, you're training totally different muscles and there won't be any overlap. So say, for example, you did another routine where you did chest and back together and then shoulders and arms. If you train shoulders and arms the day after chest and back, you would basically be training the same muscle groups 2 days in a row. The front part of your shoulders is going to be working during your chest workout. The back part of your shoulders is going to be working during your back workout. And of course, your triceps are going to be involved in the chest exercises, and your biceps are going to be involved in the back exercises. So this would not be the ideal split if you're training multiple days in a row. By using the push-pull legs routine, you won't run into that problem because you're going to be training all the pushing muscles and all the pulling muscles at the same time. One recommendation I would make when doing the push-pull legs routine is to put your leg day in the middle of your 2 upper body days. This will give the upper body muscles a day to rest, and it will help with more recuperation. Now, on the push-pull leg routine, you don't have to necessarily train 3 days in a row. If you only wanted to do 3 workouts a week and just train each muscle group once a week, you could train every other day on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split. If you wanted to continue the tradition of the intermediate routine and train 4 days a week, you could do that as well by training, say, the push muscles on Monday, legs on Tuesday, take off Wednesday, do the pulling muscles on Thursday, and go back and start the routine over on Friday by training the pushing muscles. After taking the weekend off, you would come back the next week and start up where you left off, which would be your leg day, and that would be on Monday. Or if you wanted to train 3 days in a row, you could train all 3 workouts consecutively before taking a day off. Now, because you're splitting up the body parts over 3 days instead of 2 days, you can add more exercises and more sets for each muscle group. So on the push routine, we're going to train chest, shoulders, and triceps all in one workout. Now, you always want to start with the chest when you do your push routine. The reason for this is that the chest is the biggest muscle group out of the chest, shoulders, and triceps, and the shoulders and triceps are going to be used as secondary muscles. So always begin with the biggest muscle groups first and work your way down. The second biggest muscle group of the chest, shoulders, and triceps would be the shoulders, so we'll do that second. It's important when starting an exercise program that you choose the right routine for your level of experience. If you haven't worked out for a couple of years, it would be foolish just to jump into an advanced routine. Start off slowly, let the muscles slowly become accustomed to both the resistance and the volume of each workout, and then build up from there. If you prefer to train at a beginner routine because of your lifestyle or your goals, then stay with the full body workouts for 2 to 3 days per week. If you want to push it a little bit more and try to develop the muscles a little further, then you can use an intermediate routine, splitting the upper body and lower body up into separate workouts. or even advance to a 3-day split, for example, the push-pull legs routine. If you guys need any assistance setting up your workouts or with your nutrition program, please go to my website at johnhansenfitness.com and we can set up a free 30-minute phone call where I would be happy to talk to you to put you on the fast track to reaching your goals. And if you like this video, make sure to like it and share it with your friends. And I'd love to read your comments below if you're over 60 on what type of training routine you follow. All right, guys, this is John Hansen. Stay strong, work out hard, and I'll see you next time. Take care.